Sound check, 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 check.
I think that's enough checks.
Yeah,
Oh, and that's
check,
that's that's my check. Sound check, 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 check,
check.
check. Who's next?
Here we go.
So normally I have a not so elaborate check today, but I'm gonna keep it rather simple and just say Screon.
Okay, I guess I'm left. This is a collabo check, right? So I'm going to speak in my Get Geek voice. This is Walt. And I'm going to check off in my CrossGen voice. This is Walt. There you go.
Commander Chekhov.
Okay.
Commander check off. There you go. Alrighty then. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Get Geek podcast, where we celebrate geek, nerd, and pop culture. Each week, we deliver the best analysis for fans, by fans, on anything related to movies, TV, video games, comics, anime, and manga. We talk geek. And now, here's the Get Geek podcast.
Hello and welcome to the CrossGen podcast. We're here to talk.
uh,
We're
uh,
what?
Wait,
What?
I gotta introduce myself too because this is also the Get Geek podcast.
What? It's a crossover.
It's
What?
it's a collabo.
What? And today we're here to talk about Godzilla v Kong. It wasn't. It was a good movie, a blockbuster.
Whoa! We
Yeah, I
still
don't
gotta
know.
get
I don't
into.
know.
We still gotta do disclaimers. We still gotta do introductions. We still need to like do everything else before we actually get a chance to talk about whether it was a good movie or not. No.
Start over.
No.
Okay. So, introduce everybody. Introduce yourselves.
All right. I guess since I'm usually last, I'm gonna go first. This is Walt.
I am the one they call Kaiju AJ for this episode.
And it's Eli.
And this is Gabe, aka Wolfie, again representing from the Get Geek podcast. And so, uh, some of you guys might be confused, but we have like a little bit of a collaboration going on right now. This is the first time that we're doing this, and we are crossing over with CrossGen, the CrossGen podcast, with the Get Geek podcast, right? Because this is where we happen to want to talk about the same topic, so it's like why not? Okay, but before we get into that, of course, we have like all our disclaimers. We are still recording remotely, so if you hear any kind of sound artifacts, any dogs barking, sirens, or anything like that, please bear with us. We'll do our best to kind of keep all the audio on the proper in post. And with that being said, if you like what you're hearing and you want to support both of the podcasts,
Woo!
please like, rate, share, and subscribe to the Get Geek podcast and the CrossGen podcast.
Yeah.
So, I feel like we already know what Eli thinks of the movie. Eli, why don't you go ahead and like take it off? Because for today, since this is the CrossGen crossover, we have a new director in the chair.
Yeah. That's me. Me.
That's
So
you?
What?
what?
It's you,
This
Get out of
is
here.
this
This is
is
crazy.
crazy.
It's out of
Cray
control.
Cray.
Yeah.
So Cray.
So
So
if CrossGen and Get Geek were fighting each other, who would be Godzilla? Who would be Kong?
Oh my gosh, I
Is
can't
oh
is
believe
what?
we're
that
doing that.
is that a loaded question or what?
Oh well, I'm a Kong fan, so and
No. I don't know. I think CrossGen could win.
Cross gen with a K?
CrossGen.
CrossGen would win. CrossGen.
No, but which one would be Kong? Is
Who
it
would be
cross gen
Kong?
because it kind of sounds like a K, and then get geek because
So
it's a G?
Godzilla is CrossGen.
Mm.
Oh,
Godzilla
okay.
wins.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So we're gonna beat you.
We're
It's
doing this
on.
podcast so backwards. We already know what Eli thinks, and
Yeah.
we already know who
Yeah.
wins.
This is okay. Yeah. But anyway, let's get into it. We're discussing Godzilla v Kong, and does anybody want to give like a basic summary of the movie? Just a little small.
I could do it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, synopsis.
Here's the synopsis. There's a big lizard called Godzilla, and he fights a big ape called Kong. There you go.
That's
Nice.
pretty well done.
That's
Yeah.
about as and there are some humans in the movie.
We don't really.
We'll get into that a little bit later, but basically it's just a big showcase for the two big kaiju that movie cinema fans have loved for wow, almost 60, 70 years, right?
Technically, it would go back even farther if it's Kong because he came out in the
19 right,
30s.
1933 if I remember
So you're adding
correctly.
like an extra 20 years off the bat.
Wow, so we're talking about almost 90 years of monster mayhem in the cinema.
Yeah.
So, there you go.
So
So there's my synopsis, guys.
pretty simple, but it gets the job done, I guess,
Yeah,
or something like that.
absolutely.
Um, so let's discuss what we thought about it. Positives, negatives, all that. Let's jump right into it. I'm gonna start off. I felt that it was a good movie, but it had a lot of plot holes, and I mean, I'm a Kong fan, so I don't want to get into that, but it's
We should
okay.
totally get into that.
You want to get into that?
Let's get into it.
Let's get into it. Okay.
Let's get into it.
Okay. Well, Kong was disrespected.
Oh my god.
Oh, I already see this AJ right here is like I don't know.
Well, you got to
You know,
understand.
I somewhat agree with you. I somewhat agree with you, and disagree with you. But I'll wait for my turn to give my points.
Okay. Okay. I respect that. But anyway, um Kong was like he was like beaten on. Like it was really crappy what they did to
Yeah.
him. It was sort of embarrassing at the same time. It was very embarrassing. Otherwise, the rest of the movie seemed pretty well done, I guess. The story wasn't that great. I felt that there were a lot of hollow characters. But
From Hollow Earth.
from Hollow Earth. I hated that. I
Don't get me
hated that.
started on that.
I hated that. But that's a basic summary of my thoughts. AJ, Walt.
Here, I think, look, it's not a perfect movie. As much as I really wanted to like it, it's like they said, some of the characters just felt very like, okay, do they really need to be there? Or would this person really do that? Or if they're moving at like 700 miles an hour, would they really be able to still stand up and not stay crushed? Like, there are a lot of things that, you
Technically,
know,
yes.
oh, okay. All right, then
Inertia.
how about spilling coffee onto the 9 military grade computer? I thought like that was a cheap
Technically,
cop
no.
out.
That
Yeah.
was a huge cop out. Ah, so upset at
So
so much of the
just
movie.
generally, yes, there are plot issues like that, but overall, what I really enjoyed about it was the fights.
Fights.
The fights.
Fights.
This was good.
Walt. Gabe.
I'll let Walt
Wolfie.
go because you know
I know your thought
Walt
process
and
on this.
Walt and I are we're
We're
gonna
li-
battle
we're
it out. It seems like.
yeah, this is going to be another Godzilla versus Kong on this podcast between me and Gabe. So, um I enjoyed the film and I understand what the film is. It is not a great movie by any way shape or form. There are plot holes galore, and I will admit that also. The human element, again, not compelling, but in a movie called Godzilla versus Kong, the one thing that you have to do is you have to make a compelling movie about Godzilla versus Kong. And in that respect, they gave us what we wanted. We wanted big monster fights, check. We wanted more time with the monsters, for the most part, check. We had a villain monster that was introduced that was formidable, check. So for me, I look at all the kaiju movies of the past, and I understand that kaiju, the monsters, they take up maybe 20% of the movie or less. And in this movie, we got more than that. The emphasis was more on the monsters and the fights and things of that nature. And yes, the humans weren't compelling and they were in the background, but that's the way they should be. It would have been worse if we had those same humans and we had the same ratio where we got 20% of the monsters or less. Then I would definitely say that, you know what, Godzilla v Kong is not a thing for me. But because Adam Wingard, the director, decided to put them first and foremost right in the center of it, then for me, I can walk away from those plot points and say, you know what, I had a hell of a time watching them beat each other up. So that's my take. Gabe, go ahead and trash it. Go for it.
I'm not. All right, so here's the thing. I have to. You can't. My. All right. All right. I'm
I
just gonna.
know.
All right. All right. All right.
All right.
Hold on.
All right.
Hold on.
All right. Let's go.
So
All right.
here's the thing. I'm actually gonna pivot based on what you said. Yes, the fight scenes were awesome. But this is the issue, right? We're not watching a highlight video of fight scenes. We're watching a film, right? And if the only thing that's compelling are the fight scenes, then there's no reason to watch the entire film at all, right? Because what are you going to do? You're going to wait and just listen and pay attention to all these empty plot points, terrible storylines, and things that don't matter just to see the fight scenes when you could just go to YouTube and look at the fight scenes. I
It's
mean, if that was the
called
case, what?
it's called a guilty pleasure. And that's what this movie is for me. It's a guilty pleasure. I I,
Right, but
I
see, the
agree
thing
with
is,
you. I agree with you. The
I
plot points
understand,
are
I understand.
horrible.
But the thing is that like even if it's a guilty pleasure, if there needs to be a little bit more of a coherent substance to make me not want to just go to YouTube to watch the fight scenes, as opposed to like, hey, let me pop this in the DVD or hit the stream. You know what I mean?
Mm.
I
Right?
guess.
So, that's the issue, right? Like I feel like yes, I will, like, I'm a cinephile. I will watch bad movies over and over and over again because I like watching movies. Period.
Mm-hmm.
But this is going to be one of those movies where it is just going to be in the back on the background purposely because I don't want to pay attention to the storyline. Like, for example, Batman versus Superman, a lot of the same issues. There was a lot of stuff that had nothing to do with Batman versus Superman, right? But I can actually still watch that in the background and pay attention to some of the story because a lot of the story still made sense. And that is my
So,
issue with Godzilla versus Kong, is that
mm,
the story really made no sense, from the human element perspective. And then the second problem that I had was that this wasn't really a Godzilla versus Kong movie as much as, to me, it was a Kong movie with Godzilla featured in it.
I'll give you
And
this.
Yeah.
You are kind of right about that.
But
because the
there's a
thing is,
reason
like,
for it.
just having
Well,
the the thing
yes,
is, just having Godzilla on screen doesn't make it a Godzilla movie, right? You need to have more to just showing him on the screen. We
Well,
got so much substance and background and everything with Kong, and we got nothing with Godzilla.
I will say this, and this is something that I think AJ can kind of confirm with this. But in the original Godzilla versus Kong movie, the emphasis was also on Kong as well, right?
for the
For for the most part,
yeah, for the most
and
part.
and to me, the reason is that Kong is a more. And this is going to sound weird, me saying it, But Kong is a more relatable figure because he is the most human like of the two. And so he can have an interaction and connection with humans that in a way that Godzilla can't. And so that's why Godzilla in this movie especially, he kind of plays almost background to Kong because the real, connection is Kong and that little girl. And that
Yeah.
kind of drives that plot forward. And eventually you do get to Godzilla versus Kong. Godzilla can't have that same type of relationship with that little girl that Kong did. Just because of the nature of, he's a reptile, and Kong is he even learns sign language. So there's more of a interactivity there with the human element of the movie, and that's why I think they featured him a little bit more.
So, Eli, let me ask you, just because, like, you and I are on the Kong side,
Yeah.
but this is actually a Godzilla thing, right? Like, I kind of want to counter that point because, like, yes, Kong has a connection and a relatable connection to the humans because of the little girl, right? But wouldn't you actually? I should be asking AJ this question. Wouldn't you say that, like, Godzilla also has that human connection represented that I think was done really well in the first Godzilla film? No, or Eli? Like, don't you guys think that, like, the at least Godzilla seems to have, even if it's a silent connection with the humans, that's something there.
Well, here's the thing. In a way, you are right, but at least according to what I've seen, not only in the movies, but as well as is represented in the comics too, there seems to be more of a distance between Godzilla and people than Kong and people. Like Kong, he's more the kind to regularly interact with people, but Godzilla, it's always been this very delicate relationship with humans. Like, it's hard to
He's
explain.
he's it's not like um he's connected in the way of like he's seen as a savior, right? And it's I don't think that's
Not
like a strong
There
connection
was a
really.
there's a
well,
disconnected
Yeah,
connection.
there's a
like
disconnected connection.
like
Yeah,
it's like
There's a
the
respect.
different,
There's a respect
a
between
respect.
Godzilla and the humans, but that wasn't really shown.
especially when they just turned their backs on him like
Yeah.
that quickly.
Um.
That I felt was really like,
Exactly.
are
That was
you
like,
kidding
what?
me? Really?
Yes.
So let's get into that. I want to get into that. What are some of like the background stuff that really, 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 really needed to be improved? Like, especially the thing with the humans and stuff, which was absolutely boring.
This is all right. All right. This is Eli. You have to give me. I want to know where all that. What's the corniest thing? Come on, you gotta tell me.
The
You gotta
Oh
start
corniest
this
thing?
off.
God.
Oh my God! Here
You
we
gotta
go.
start
Oh
this off.
The
no.
corn meter has started.
I don't know. Hold on.
There's a
It's a
lot you
lot,
can pick
isn't it?
from.
It's a
There's a
lot.
lot,
I
way
even
too
admit
much.
there's a lot you can pick from.
I think
Ow.
that I think that
Exactly.
a main one was like I guess Apex's security system as well as the technology.
They had security.
They didn't even have security. Yeah, that's exactly my point. They had nothing. Like
If this was an MMO, don't you play like, if this was an MMO, it's like they put, like, the difficulty level on one. They're
It
just
was
walking around with
really
guns.
bad.
yeah,
It was really bad. I mean, what were some of the examples, right?
what like
The the jimmying of the lock with the
yeah,
the screwdriver, right?
all he did was like he only just like stabbed it the weird lock and it just popped open. Like oh my
God.
gosh, there's just so
I
many.
I can
Ugh.
think of the three instances. So it was that one with the screwdriver. There was, well, actually four instances. Them jumping on that magnetic train, the Elon Musk invention, right?
The
Um,
hyperloop, yeah.
yeah, the hyperloop. The third one is them just casually walking into the gladiatorial arena for
And no one
No
noticing it.
no
one.
one noticing
No
it,
one.
first of all, and second of all, the fact that they saw a blood splattered eye and they continue to walk into it, right? um
Oh my
and
god.
then the last one is probably the most laughable one, and I think you already mentioned that, with the vodka and the
The
supercomputer, right?
supercomputer. Oh my
Oh
god.
my god.
That was
I think he said it was single malt, actually.
Oh well,
Isn't
that
isn't
made
isn't alcohol isn't alcohol like a electric conductor anyway? That wouldn't short circuit it.
no, it wouldn't. But even if it did short circuit it, I would tend to think that there's backup systems to ensure that things didn't fail, right?
yeah. It's like it's not even. It's not like they only have one computer like controlling Mechagodzilla because that's just way too much stuff and stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
so many plot
If you
holes.
if you think about it though, like wouldn't like if the whole plot point for Mechazilla, Mechagodzilla is that he went rogue and sentient on his own, then how is he still connected to the supercomputer?
Huh.
Well, see, that's why I thought originally that the satellite, because I brought this up in a discussion with Walt. So when Conspiracy Guy was talking about possibly how this Mechagodzilla thing works, he started talking about the telepathic relationship between each of Ghidorah's three heads.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
in my estimation, one head was obviously Sarazawa and the skull.
Mm-hmm.
The second head would have been Mechagodzilla itself. And then the third one, which would act as like the bridge between the two, would be the satellites up above. That's the only way I could rationalize that. It's
And
like,
how
Yeah,
does the computer come into place with that?
I
Yeah.
had a different take on that, and that's why
Okay.
me and him, we were discussing it. So in my vision, yes, the conspiracy guy, he had mentioned that there was telepathy between the three heads, because for whatever reason he said the length of the heads, the length of the necks were too long, so they couldn't communicate. I don't understand that part, but whatever. But the way I thought of it was that you had Serizawa in the skull. That was one formation of the three headed monster. You had Mecha Godzilla proper, who also had a piece of him placed in there. I think did they mention that, or something that enabled them to connect on that level, right? That was the second part. And the third part to me was that supercomputer. The satellite, in my estimation, was the telepathy that brought everything together. That's how I took that to kind of work, And then the whole thing about dropping the vodka, it kind of severed the connection. So then the, you know, the the unity between these three pieces working together was broken, and then
I
that
can bring that.
caused Mecha Godzilla to not function, you know, at
I
the
can bring
level
that.
that he was functioning. Yeah, I know. I'm just saying that's the way I took that scene. But
Well,
again, it wasn't explained well enough, so we're left to speculate.
no, no, we're left to explain. If you break the connection, or you're breaking the connection between the supercomputer and Godzilla or Mechagodzilla, or the supercomputer and the satellite that has its own onboard computer system.
Well, I think the way it was, because and this goes back to another weird plot point where that little spider computer down on Hollow Earth grabs some of the that element that was part of that axe that
Mm-hmm.
Kong was wielding, and somehow by that they uploaded all the information up there. So the way I took it is that
but,
that upload occurred to Mechagodzilla to power it. So you know it was being powered by that.
but that's
I
Yeah.
one
mean,
thing I don't understand. How do you transfer the power from that
Again,
bot
well, we're talking
all
about
the
plot
way
point
to?
again. You're thinking that you need the physical manifestation of that power source to actually bring it and put it into Mechagodzilla, but no, the film makers decided all you needed was the information on what powered that to create the power into
Uh,
Mechagodzilla.
But
Again,
uh,
another
explain.
weak
I
part,
mean,
another
yeah.
thing they didn't explain well. But I think the majority of the power is already in Mechagodzilla with that upload. And so, those three things were kind of trying to make sure all three things were working in synchronicity.
I I have to actually talk about
Weird.
the upload because that was another one that's another really thin plot point. So like basically they go to Hollow Earth, they discover they discover the power source, take a sample of it, and then they basically like they DM the sample to the computer, and all of a sudden the computer can replicate this never before seen power source.
Yeah.
That's
Yes.
kind of thin. That's so
It
thin.
is. It is.
Yeah.
They should have
That's
at
so
least
thin.
brought that thing up, and placed it
Yeah.
in there, instead of just sending the blueprints.
Oh my god. Oh gosh. All
There was
right.
some shortcuts made
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
But
It yeah.
yeah. Anyway, I want to really get into Hollow Earth. What did you guys think of Hollow Earth? I know what
Okay.
AJ is gonna
First
say.
of all, first of
Ooh.
all,
AJ,
I
oh,
do
AJ,
not
AJ's
think
fired up.
that Hollow Earth was supposed to be taken as literally as they made it in this movie. Like the way I visualized it, like it didn't just completely discard everything we knew about Earth's geology. First of all, what I originally took Hollow Earth to be was along maybe the crust or the mantle, or not even the mantle, like more so the crust of the Earth,
Hmm.
like the very thin layer on the top. That's where Hollow Earth was, and it was basically just a series of tunnels threading. Uh, it didn't go all the way down into Earth. It was a very superficial tunnel system,
Hmm.
but it was enough to get you from point A to point B quickly. I never,
Almost like wormholes,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Them taking it to this whole new level where it's like, oh, we don't even really have a core. The entire Earth is completely hollow. It's just like, okay, you guys took that way too far. I didn't like how far they took it. And and you know what the reason the reason why they probably did it too was just so that they could be like, oh, so we're gonna do a nice little camera effect where, oh, we're right side up. Nope, now we're upside down.
That was cool. That was cool. I will say that the effects and everything, the visual effects were pretty good, pretty on point with the
But for
film.
me, that's not enough to justify
Yeah.
completely taking
Oh
part of
no,
the lore
absolutely
to the
not.
next level.
I mean, how do you have a sun inside the earth?
Like, was
It's
that the core?
impossible.
What's going on here?
It's impossible. So like either there's a sun on Earth, inside the hollow part of the Earth that has its own vegetation and surface and the whole nine, or the hollow Earth is a black hole into another dimension, for which would be impossible because then the Earth would collapse in itself.
Eventually.
Okay.
Well, see, that's
Eventually,
where that this is where I thought there was kind of a missed opportunity a little bit, and again, we don't know what their plans are going forward, because as of right now there are no plans to move forward with the legend verse. I think they're waiting to see how well Godzilla versus Kong does before they start committing, and that's kind of the reason why you didn't see an end credit scene at the end of the movie, is because they
yeah,
don't know if
I
they're
was kind
moving
of
forward.
wishing for that.
Yeah.
I was wishing for that. Yeah.
But and this was the whole thing, and man, is there so many kind of references to this, but this is how you kind of put two of these franchises together, because you could take the Monsterverse and now you have kind of the makings of Pacific Rim here, because
Yeah.
you've introduced the Rift in Pacific Rim, and it's kind of like a gateway to another world. And now you have Hollow Earth, which again is kind of like a gateway to another world. and you have the same kind of technology, um, where in Pacific Rim, the Jaegers are controlled by human pilots using what's called quote unquote the drift, and you see almost the exact same thing happening here with Serizawa's son controlling Mechagodzilla in very much the same way. And so here's a thought that I'm going to throw out to all of you guys, and I want to see if you think I'm just crazy or not. But this to me is almost like that guy that ran Apex. To me,
Hmm.
he kind of seems like the forefather to the Jaeger project going forward into the future. Like this, if you really wanted to find a way to connect this, you can say that this was the beginning, because you have this guy and he kind of clearly recognizes that there's a need for humans to be able to defend themselves by creating these robots. And that kind of, if you go a little bit further into the future, you can kind of connect Pacific Rim that way and say, you know what, his technology was kind of like the foundation for everything that we see in the Pacific Rim universe.
So
What do you guys think about that?
wait, you want to do a crossover?
I think a crossover would be awesome between those two.
Mm,
Even though we're crossing over
nah,
right now with the cross gen and the Jet
cross gen.
Get
You
Geek
know what's funny?
podcast.
I haven't seen Pacific Rim.
What?
Oh,
What?
I have
what?
not. I have not.
Watch the first
I'm
one. The
telling you, there
first
was a
one.
period. There was a period in my life where I haven't been able to like do anything: video games, movies, comics, nothing over like some time
Okay,
in the not so distant
I'm officially
past.
I'm officially pausing this podcast. We're gonna break for 2 hours. You're gonna go watch the damn thing and come back.
Yeah, you know what? Maybe I'll catch it. I have a little bit of time today. I'll watch the first one right after I'm done. I mean, I'm a huge like Gundam fan, and like people have been telling me like if you like Gundam, you have to like Pacific Rim. So
Yeah.
uh,
The second one you can kind of skip over. It was the first one is really the good one in that franchise.
Yeah.
It
okay,
was
But
okay.
once you see it, you'll kind of understand where I'm trying to go with this. But
okay.
so, um, AJ, what do you think?
I
Because
think
You
he
know
thinks
what
you're
I
crazy.
think.
I know what you think. I want you to let our audience know what you think.
I absolutely would hate the idea. There is no there is no way that Ye-
He's a kaiju purist.
I'll give you the Jaegers some credit. They can fight. They're scrappy. But it's the same argument you make with putting Kong up against
No,
Godzilla.
don't go
They
there.
simply
Whoa, whoa,
cannot
whoa,
compete.
whoa!
No,
Are you kidding me?
no.
All right, we need to talk. We need to talk about the actual fights now. We need because
Okay,
Kong
so
put a whooping on Godzilla. It actually makes no sense that Godzilla was able to come back, after getting that whooping, fully refreshed with no power ups. I mean, Eli, come on, please school him. Tell me something.
I don't know now. I'm sort of
Oh,
rethinking
what?
it now. Okay. Here's the thing. I feel that Godzilla, it should have been a more equal match because, I mean, for God's sakes, Kong needed freaking CPR just to stay alive. That's
But it doesn't make sense how we
disgraceful.
got there, though.
Okay.
What, like a freaking stomp to the chest and a couple scratches to his
Yeah. Right.
skin?
do we want
Come
to do
on.
we want to pull out the fight record for this movie? Because
We know
I
what the
kind
fight
of
record is.
titled
It's
Yeah.
2-1.
Godzilla 2 Kong 1, right?
Yeah.
Uh Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla, that's a win for Mechagodzilla.
Yeah.
Kong versus versus Mechagodzilla, that's a win for Kong. So overall, Kong has 2 wins. Godzilla has how many wins did I say? 2 wins.
2.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Okay, but
they're
You can't
this
kind of
isn't
measure it
got
even
like
in
that.
terms of wins and losses, but head to head, Godzilla does win.
Yeah, but like
But
it's not even like that. Kong needed help from Godzilla for Mecha Godzilla. First off, second off, I mean, Kong for half of like
what?
literally he was like beating the crap out of Godzilla for like most of the movie, and then it's like all of a sudden Godzilla had like a friggin' awakening or something like that,
Can I say
like a
something real
Zenkai.
quick before we continue? And I want to direct this
Yeah.
to Gabe. Um,
Okay.
you did see the rear naked choke and the Insaguri there, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Was that not amazing? Especially
It
that
was.
Godzilla was the one that pulled it off.
I
The hip
understand that, but
toss.
it just still
I
does
was like,
it. That doesn't right. But see, the thing is that doesn't make sense because Godzilla doesn't have the arms for it.
Yeah.
well, that's the thing. In this movie, I thought, and AJ can either negate me or agree with me. I kind of got the sense that Godzilla had much longer arms in this movie than any other previous movie before.
Yep, I'm gonna give
They
you that.
did. They
His
did.
arms actually came down to his hips, which
So
then
would you?
allowed him to do that magnificent hip toss.
But he didn't do
And
that with
that
Right,
his
but
was
see,
arms
pure
though.
perfect form.
but
He did that with his jaws.
Even more of an
all right. So
amazing
here's the
feat by
thing.
him.
Here's the thing. It's just it doesn't make sense because you can't tell me that Kong is strong enough to put the whooping on Godzilla, but not strong enough to handle a few scratches to his chest and Godzilla putting his foot on it. Because it's not like Godzilla jumped in the air and landed on top of Kong. No, he just put his foot on his chest. And with
Yeah, but
that
it's not
alone,
like it's. My counterpoint to that is it's not like he's just going. Oh, I'm gonna rest my foot here for a minute. There's pressure being applied there.
I
There's
no
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 Yeah,
I
there's
mistake.
understand that.
time.
No. See, here's the thing. I understand that Godzilla is applying monumental tonnage of pressure. My thing is that you can't tell me that Kong is strong enough to put the whooping on Godzilla and not strong enough to handle that either.
I think it's a matter that you know what Khan got gassed at the end to use
I
a
don't
to
think that he
use an
got
MMA
gassed.
MMA. I think he got gassed. I think
How did he get
towards the
gassed?
end
That's the thing. They didn't show us him
because
Here's
getting gassed.
the tide turned very quick. Like he had the moment, and then all of a sudden, just like in a fight, the tide turned, and all of a sudden, Godzilla was really on the offensive there. Godzilla, I think, may have underestimated Kong at the very beginning, and maybe that's why Kong had the better of him. And also, Kong did have a weapon on him, so that also helped.
Godzilla has a
Kind of
freaking laser beam.
and let me bring
that.
oh
No,
let me
that's true.
that
That's true.
brings me to my point.
Okay,
Who was moving around more during this fight?
Kong.
Was Kong not exerting more energy running
No,
around
no,
just
That's
trying to
no,
dodge
that's
no. You
that's
want to know
No,
exactly
why?
hold
my
on, hold
point.
on, hold
No, no,
on.
Also,
no. You want?
Exactly.
No, hold
that
on,
was
hold
my
on. You want to
point.
know why?
No. Wait, what?
The reason why that doesn't matter is because Kong is built for that. That's what he
Yeah.
does. That's what they swing and run around like nothing. They
You.
do that with ease.
I don't know
It's
if he
not
went
like
to. I don't know if he went to training camp for that.
Yeah, but it's.
Okay, you're still gonna tire yourself out.
No.
Eli. Come on, come back to the
And then
Kong
you
side.
got
Come back
hit
to
a
the Kong
couple
side.
times too.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. I
I.
mean, he was really struggling at the end because Godzilla was, and again, you're right. He does have the fire breath, right? The atomic breath,
Atomic
and
breath.
he was really using it, and Kong was doing everything it took to try. I mean, he was jumping
Not
all
that
over the
much.
place. Oh
Oh
no,
yes,
he
it
was
was that
No.
much.
he
Oh
was
He does that
he
for
was
yes.
fun. He
desperate.
does that for fun.
But there is
That's how
something.
monkeys run around.
I understand that, but there is something different in terms of doing it for fun and doing it when your life is in danger. You now have the
All right,
element where you have all this adrenaline going and your heart is pumping that much
all
faster.
right,
You
all
know
right.
what I'm saying? So that's why I say it could have been a little bit of overexertion on Kong's part, and then to have that pressure applied to think you're literally bursting his heart at that point.
All
I,
right,
I mean,
I'm gonna
that's
ask a
just what I'm
question. I want
saying.
to ask a
Well,
question to Eli. Okay, Eli. So for those of you guys on CrossGen that don't know, and maybe some of you guys on Get Geek don't know, Eli is actually a student of mine in Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai, various martial arts, right? So in case you didn't know, Eli's a bad A. But Eli, let me ask you, okay? When I have you roll with someone first round and someone that you're better than, you know, you move around. You obviously physical exertion. You're moving around. You're doing your moves. Everything perfectly fine, right?
mm-hmm.
Speak, right? So now, when I ask you to roll with the same person that you can normally on any given day beat up on after training with me, how much energy do you have for that roll?
Not as much. Yeah, I wouldn't have as much after
Right?
rolling with you.
Right, after getting beat up on, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Wait, hold on, guys. I'm not saying that I beat up on Eli. That came out wrong. But
Whoop,
so
whoop.
that's where
That's the sound of the police. Whoop, whoop.
so that's where my argument lies, that I don't see how, like, you're saying that like Kong's physical exertion didn't allow for him to be able to handle Godzilla's, round 3, but how did Godzilla have that round 3 after getting beat up on?
Well,
Further,
and
oh, go on.
No, Eli, please.
and you know what? Honestly, I don't think that was, even if you were to make that case, that still wouldn't be enough physical exertion, in my opinion. Because I mean, you could. That's like you can be pushed to the limits, but like you won't have a heart attack. I know that. Well, at least from my experience, if you get like super tired, I still don't feel like anything bad.
Uh,
I mean, it's
Before
it's weird.
I'm gonna say one real quick thing, and then oh, you know what, AJ, make your point, and then right afterwards, I have a quick little point to make.
Let's also make this point too. First time they fought, Kong almost drowned. And since then, he has been constantly fighting down there in what's it? Um, shoot, in Hollow
And
Earth.
Hollow
Hmm.
He
Earth.
fought the war bats. He even had to fend off the Hellhawks.
But
Oh yeah, that's true. I forgot about that.
wait,
All of that
right?
energy is being exerted.
But
He had to climb
What?
up
No,
what?
no, hold on.
to
No.
he had
Oh
to
my
climb up to
god.
Shanghai or wherever the heck
Hmm.
him and
What?
Godzilla
It only
fought.
took him
Hong
a
Kong,
second. It only
Yeah,
took him 10
exactly.
seconds. That's
because
nothing.
he was falling.
Hold up.
But
And
I
what is Godzilla doing? He's
Hold up. Hold up.
swimming around
Hold
having
up.
a chill time.
let me
He
just
arguably has more of the stamina right
No,
now than
Eli's got a
Kong
point. Eli's got a
does.
point. Come on.
let me say one thing. The whole thing about, and this is something that we don't know, but remember at the very beginning of the movie, Kong was not in a free flowing environment. He was caged up, and we don't know how long he's been, because remember he was in that dome, so his movement was really truly limited. So we don't know what his level of activity was, and he was being, I'm pretty sure he was being fed
In
by his
quarantine.
captors, right? Exactly. So he's not at his peak physical form because, again, he's kind of been confined to a space, and again, we don't know how long he's been there, right? So there is that maybe he's not working at peak athletic
Uh,
whatever prowess or
I
whatever.
will
Well,
I will break that. I will break that because if he wasn't, he wouldn't have been able to demolish Godzilla in round 2.
Yeah.
yeah, I'm gonna have to
With the
say
axe.
that that kind of doesn't work because while the enclosure was he was still able to jump around and make a
Yeah,
move.
yeah.
And
Like it
And again, he
wasn't
still
that
performed.
small.
He
yeah.
still performed.
Yeah.
I will
So
tell you what happened, okay? From a narrative standpoint. Eli, sorry guys, if you guys don't know, we have video so that we can communicate since we're remotely recording. Wait, remotely collaborating, okay? And I think
Collaborating.
Eli's got a point.
Yeah. But I wanted to add on to how you said he's been constantly fighting.
yeah, pretty much more so than Godzilla.
But bro, you
Godzilla.
have to hold up.
No, no, no. Yeah, yeah. Sorry, sorry.
It's okay. But my point, he was down at Hollow Earth, but he hasn't been like constantly fighting. He's had a chance to get breathers in. He had some chance. He
Okay,
had a chance to rest.
but compared to Godzilla, who was fighting more often?
Who's fresher?
King Kong, but that's still, you can still recharge your, you can
I,
still regain your energy with over time. I mean, it's not like he's been constantly fighting kaiju's down in Hollow Earth, and they're just practically aggressing him, I guess, right?
I mean,
He's had, yeah.
it's just Eli. Don't you? It's just you can't say. Hold on, you can't say that Godzilla's been doing nothing the entire movie. He's just
N- I'm not
swimming from one
saying
end of the earth to the other
I'm not
and
saying
fighting off. Yeah,
no, I'm not saying he's not doing anything, but who's doing more of the fighting in this movie is what I'm
I would
saying.
say it's equal. I would say it's equal. No.
No, it's
Mm,
Well,
not.
no, that I would disagree
I
with.
would say King Kong is exerting more energy, and he has been doing more. He has been had more
I
activity,
mean,
but
yeah, if you look to Eli's point, though, if you look at what happened in Hollow Earth, right? He had the very first instant that he got there, he fought those two
The
monsters, the
Warbats.
war bats, right? At one point, he was being suffocated by one of them. Okay, right? So that's going to take something out of you. At at the very end, he's doing the all those ugly birds. I
Hellhawks.
thank you, Hellhawk. See, I know AJ knows all of this by heart. You also have to take into account that he was shot at by that woman,
Oh, well, that I
right?
wouldn't say
I
that.
No,
wouldn't
no,
say
but
that.
still, you still, there's still something there, right? Maybe it appears that you have
But
there is more things that he's doing while he's there before he has to fight Godzilla. So there is a little bit more physical exertion on his part. It's not like, he
yeah,
walked into the fight fresh.
but like that's just I'm gonna give you an example. If you've been rolling for like I would say how long did Godzilla and Kong roll?
Wait, hold on. We
I
got
mean
we got to
fight.
explain what rolling is.
Oh
No, no,
yeah,
you could let's
rolling.
explain what rolling is.
Rolling is like I sparring, right?
in, in jujitsu and
In
sparring. So
jujitsu, sparring.
rolling is what we do like we're fighting. We look like me and Eli when we go at it. We look like Kong and Godzilla on the mats, literally rolling over each other, trying to choke each other out, falling and crash. Like if there was buildings around, we'd be destroying them with our bodies. That's what me and Eli pre-COVID is what Eli and I do on the regular. So when he says rolling, it's basically a kaiju battle on the mats.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So, but anyway, if you were given like a 15-minute break from rolling, you would 15 to 30 minutes, probably 30 minutes. You would still regain most of that energy that you lost because you're not doing anything. And if yes, you can say that he was moving around, but you're not even really exerting that much energy from moving around.
So
He's
let me
speaking
let
from
me
experience. He's
let
speaking
me
from experience.
let me put it this way
So are
then.
you all. You also train.
I do, but I don't train as much as you guys do because of my other, responsibilities. Which, sadly enough, I wish I had more time to do it because,
You
guys,
mean
let me
being
tell
a
you something.
dad?
Jiu-jitsu is fun. I love jiu-jitsu. I wish I had more time to do it. But let me put it to you this way then. Um, the difference would be if you had been fighting somebody, you had been rolling with somebody first round, right? And then second round you rolled with somebody, and then somebody gets to class late, puts on the gi and jumps in on the third roll, right?
They're
Yes,
fresher. Yes.
you have, yeah, exactly. You have some time in between rolls to kind of get a breather and stuff, but
Right.
the guy that comes in on the third roll is going to naturally be fresher. So you know what, he may not have
Wait.
he, hmm
Well,
okay.
what if the guy that came in during that third roll just ran a couple hundred miles because Godzilla's swimming all over the earth? You're gonna tell me that
Well,
he
But
swims
that's
for
like
free?
breathing for him.
Right,
Oh,
That's
it's like
nothing.
it's
breathing.
like
No, it's
walking.
not like breathing. Sitting around and breathing is like breathing. Swimming from America to Hong Kong is something else.
I would.
So would you equate running a couple of blocks to get to class the same fitness
America to
level
Hong Kong is not a
as
couple of blocks.
well, for Godzilla it would be.
Yeah,
No, it
because
wouldn't
he's
be. Come
Because
that's
on.
his
remember,
thing.
the water
And
kind of
all
helps
right, but
with that, right?
I
You're not
understand that, but like then like is climbing not Kong's thing? Climbing up to the surface?
Okay,
He
but
didn't
it's
climb, he
one.
fell.
Well, here's the thing, actually,
He did
because
fall.
remember,
He didn't
well,
climb, right?
but here's the thing, because remember, when Godzilla shot down, it inverted up. So eventually, as Kong was going down, he would need to invert, so that he would then need to climb up.
Okay. But halfway through the thing, he's fine.
Yeah.
He's just falling. But then again, kind of feeding into our, you know, um version of things, he still had to now exert himself to get up to climb up to the surface to fight Godzilla, who's kind of just waiting
Climbing
around for
is
him,
like
you know?
climbing is like Godzilla swimming. It's his breathing. You can't say that it's cool for Godzilla to swim across the entire Pacific and that Kong can't climb up easily when that's something that he
Yeah,
does also on the regular. Come on, man. You got to give us that.
yeah. I'll
All
give you
right,
that.
I'll give you that. I'll give
But
you that.
okay, just one final thing because we have to move on from this. But
Oh wait, there's more?
yeah, just one last thing. You said that you tried relating this to an example before on like the 3 rounds and stuff, right?
Right.
But let's just put it this way: if you had 15-minute breaks, which probably for Kong was a little bit more than, you would have enough time. You would be able to do those roles. Sure, you wouldn't have as much energy, but it wouldn't be by much. It wouldn't be by as much Kong had. Whatever. Yeah.
Okay,
I still think there's something to that because you've been
I
doing
don't know.
physical activity now for back to back, right, and stuff, and so there is a little thing to a guy that's coming off the street and he's fresh and putting on his gi for the first time and rolling when you've already done 2 or 3 rolls previous, you know, there's still something to that.
But was Godzilla really even fresh? He had to shoot his laser down and he had to drill. He had to practically drill a full
Yeah,
hole down to hollow earth. That you cannot say that Godzilla does that on the regular because exerting
that's not
energy,
like breathing.
yeah, that's not
Yeah,
like
it's not
breathing.
like breathing.
I'll give you that, but that's still not. I don't see that as physical as fighting somebody like Kong did previously with those two
I don't know,
two
man.
groups of
let me
kaiju
put
I
that
it
he
don't know.
fought.
let me put it to you this way. If you were almost drowned and literally almost choked to death, are you really going to have as much energy as the other guy who's
But
like,
that was a
That didn't
while
happen.
ago.
Yeah, that didn't happen right before the fight.
okay, but
Yeah,
that still takes a toll on the body
No,
overall?
but you regain
Yes.
that
not
energy that
overall.
you
Not over.
lost.
Not over. Yeah, not overall. There's no way. You're gonna tell me that he didn't have enough time to recover? You
Yeah,
telling me that recovery time doesn't matter?
Not okay, but
Come
there's still
on.
something to that.
Listen, I
No.
know exactly why this happened. And I wanted to go like this is a point that I wanted to talk about. Maybe we can segue into this, and it's the lazy writing. The writers wanted to give us a film where it's like, all right, we have the human element, we have Godzilla and Kong. For them, they're like, we have a checklist, and the checklist says we need to have a minimum of 3 battles for Kong and Godzilla. We did the first one, Godzilla won that one. The second one, Kong won that one. It was like, all right, we need to fill up the third fight. And it's like, and we already decided that Godzilla's gonna win. Let's just bang it out real quick, and that's what happened. I felt like that third round was really just we already gave the audience what they wanted, right? Kong got to win, Godzilla got to win. Let's go ahead and just finish this off so we can go back to Mecha Godzilla and the human element.
yeah,
To me, it was just lazy writing. If they spent less time on plot lines and storylines that didn't make sense, they could have fleshed out much more dramatic fight scenes, including a third. The third round should have been that should have been the main course. That third round should have been way more dramatic. You know, so
yeah.
that's the way I look at it. It's just lazy writing.
And you know what? I really want to add on to that point because I think one of what's his name? The one of the main dudes at Apex. The main dude at Apex.
The
The
main bad
girl's
guy,
father.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Like it was like
the girl that didn't matter.
the girl that didn't matter. It's
Okay.
like
I mean, come on.
the main guy at Apex. It's like he didn't really even have
Well,
he had a motive, but like he was just so hollow.
it's very
There was nothing.
superficial.
Yeah, there was nothing to him except for, oh, let's we
Well,
want to balance out
Ha
the
ha ha.
chain
Godzilla
of
must be
power.
destroyed so humanity can be on top again.
Yeah, it's like
I think he had the right intentions, but and again, going to Gabe's point, the writing kind of made him a lesser person, a lesser character than he should have been. Because if you see these giant monsters, and for the most part they have been friendly, but we did have the attack with Ghidorah, and we did have prior to that the Mutos attack, right?
The Mutos,
The
yeah.
Mutos attack. So, in his mind, he's thinking, okay, well, right now we're fortunate enough that Godzilla has ushered peace, but that peace is not going to be long lasting. And there is a possibility that these being animals, that they can turn on us we should find a way to protect ourselves. That is a valid motivation to do what he did. The problem is that they made him into this cackling, arrogant, overbearing figure that really didn't put across his motivations in a really believable way. They kind of threw it almost as a punchline. Oh, I'm here, I'm going to create Mega Godzilla because I think it's good for the thing. Ha 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 ha, look at what I've done. I look at my hubris. Ha 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 ha. That they didn't write his character the right way. There was a way to make that character interesting, they just chose not to do it. So that's my take on
But
that guy.
you know what, Sarazawa,
Oh, they did his son wrong.
yeah, he was also really done wrong
he
because
You could change his name and it wouldn't even matter. He was just another guy.
yeah, because I
Yeah,
mean I would
just like everyone
figure,
else.
yeah,
Yeah, it's true.
I would figure his father's work would have like some impact on what he's doing, which I mean it seems to be that it has because he went into like his father's line of work, but like
It
I
was like the
mean,
polar opposite, though.
well, like when I mean that he's obviously like helping to study kaiju's and stuff like that, right?
No, he's
Or
out
what
to
is he doing?
kill them,
Well, he
which
says
was
that.
which is completely antagonistic to what his father wanted.
Well, yeah. So then that's my point, right? It's like he his
They really
belief
needed to
story.
flesh him out a
Yeah.
lot more. Like, I would even buy that he was upset at Godzilla because Sarazawa sacrificed himself to do the bombing.
Hmm.
And so he's like, well, this is kind of like my vengeance fighting Godzilla or something like that.
You know what? I
But
wanna.
they didn't even try with his character. Like, he was very wishy-washy to me. Like, he clearly wanted this thing to happen, but then he had that moment where it's like, well, maybe we shouldn't do this so quickly. Godzilla's like, and then I was like, whatever. Like, I just feel like could have done much better with him.
I actually want to go to back to Wolfie's point and how he said that there was lazy writing.
Hmm.
Yes,
Yeah.
he
Uh,
felt so lazy.
well, yes, there was lazy writing, but I think I keep AJ. You said something about Warner Brothers or
Oh yeah.
yeah, they were cutting up the movie.
So
So what? Restore the Godzilla,
the
the
wing,
Godzilla
Really?
the
Kong.
wing, because remember there. I actually saw a post not too long ago. I believe his name is Alexander Skarsgård.
Yes.
Apparently, there was a lot more footage that they shot with him and his brother going to Hollow Earth for the first time. Because remember, he mentioned, "Oh, well, I we went to Hollow Earth the first time; it didn't work out so well because of gravity inversion."
Hmm.
They had that shot; they didn't put it in. So
Mm.
I feel like, based on what this guy's saying, not only that, but a lot more of the movie that should have been in there was not put in there because of this whole WB interference again.
Are you
So
saying that
I'm
there's a
a
director's cut of
Wingard
this?
cut. The
Oh
Release
Wingard
god.
the
cut.
Wingard cut.
Oh my god.
Release the Wingard cut.
I hope the Wingard cut cuts out all the human aspects.
You know
Well,
what?
Like
actually,
cut the
based
humans.
on that, it would have added more on the human aspect. But who knows? Maybe
Yeah,
it would have made it better.
Yeah.
man, it's true. You would have had
Uh,
more fleshed out motivations. You know who I was missing for this from this movie, who I thought should have been in? Charles Dance's character. The guy who bought the Godzilla head in the first place. The guy from Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
But see, that's another thing. I don't think they really did justice to the Ghidorah head. Like, sure, they pulled off the cool, hey, look, this is kind of an allusion to Kiyu thing, but I don't think they. I don't feel like they used that element right, to my opinion.
there is
So,
something else.
oh yeah, go.
There's something else that's like super forgettable. You know, that we are forgetting,
Yeah.
and that's the cast. We're forgetting the entire plot line of like yes, the what's his name, the oh my god, I can't forget. See, that's the thing. Like we don't even know the characters' names. Um,
Mark, the dad.
oh, I forgot about the dad too,
The dad
the
was
Oh,
just
non-existent dad.
there. The dad was just
Um,
there to not realize that. his daughter had gone to Hong Kong without his
Yes,
permission.
exactly. And he didn't even seem freaked out by it. He didn't. It's crazy. But no, Millie Bobby Brown's character, Madison Russell, who was second billed, by the way, and the conspiracy dude and Deadpool kid. You know what I mean? Their whole storyline, like I just like, does anybody see any reason for them to be in the movie? Like their storyline, let alone as characters.
Technically, literally the only reason that I see it as being necessary is because of this whole anti-Godzilla stigma that they drum up. But that is literally the only reason why they're there. Otherwise, what are they doing there? That's-
But they didn't.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Gabe.
No, no, no. Please, please go ahead. I no, go.
I think the purpose, and again, maybe not done in the best way, but I think the purpose was that, we see Godzilla coming back, and after the explanation was is that Godzilla had relatively been very peaceful, you know, up until that point. And so I gathered the reason why they were there was to kind of point out that Godzilla wasn't attacking just for no specific reason. Godzilla was really attacking because he sensed that Ghidorah, in some way, shape, or form, was out there, and they were there to kind of like, peel those layers and say, well, the reason why is this company Apex, which again, a name for a company that's really on the nose here when we're talking about apex predators and stuff like that. You have to name the company Apex, really? But I think the reason why is that they were supposed to be the mechanism so that the audience realizes that Godzilla is not coming back to destroy because, he's just doing this thing. He's got a very specific reason. He can sense that somehow Ghidorah is out there activating. Now he doesn't know in what fashion. He maybe thinks that Ghidorah's back from the dead, and that's why he's going after. And they make it very specific in like the middle of the movie where it says, "Well, it's interesting that he's attacking Apex facilities." Hmm.
Right.
So I think that's the reason why those characters were kind of there. It was just very clunky how they did it.
uh, Gabe, you want to say something?
So, so here's the thing. This is why I say it goes to lazy writing, because you can write it better like this. Take out the entire storyline. At the headquarters where we have like the first time that we see Mecha Godzilla in his Mecha Coliseum, you know, just have one of the underlings come and tell the boss, tell the Apex, boss dudes like, hey, Godzilla destroyed another one of our facilities. He's getting closer, and then explain that like we need to finish Mecha Godzilla before he finds us. And that right there explains that he's looking for Mecha Godzilla,
Hmm.
and you don't need the entire storyline of the trio trying to. I don't even know what they're trying to do, because it's not like they tried. It's not like they knew Mecha Godzilla was really happening. They just had a hunch and stumbled upon him, and they're like, "Oh, that's the reason that Godzilla is attacking Apex."
Yeah.
You take all that
That's
out,
true.
and you just have one security guard tell him like he destroyed another one of our facilities, and then that would make us even have more sense of urgency. That would be a much better storyline, actually. You give us a sense of urgency of why they couldn't wait to test the power. They knew they had to do this now because Godzilla's getting closer. Much better story.
Yeah. Can we pivot on one thing? I want to ask you guys one quick question. What did you think of Mechagodzilla's design? I
Well,
thought this is my
I,
personal.
I
Well,
would
you know
I
what?
would defer
I'm gonna
to
let you
AJ.
guys ask. What do you guys think?
here's the thing. While I liked the look, it had to grow on me. But if I'm being totally honest, he was a little bit too slim to my liking, and the way his hands operate, it was very awkward for me. Like he probably has the biggest hands of any Mechagodzilla in recorded history. It was awkward to me. Like Ah, and normally, it's just one thing I did like though was I liked his cannon. God, um, well, sometimes it's called the Mega Buster, sometimes it's called other things, but
Mhm.
I'm just gonna for lack of a better term call it the Mega Buster. The Mega Buster in this movie was dope.
Hmm.
Especially the first time that they showed it off, right?
Oh God, that poor skull crawler.
Yeah,
He cut him,
that was.
flayed him in half, right?
But see, why did Mecha
Jeez.
Godzilla get an even more bad A moment than King Kong?
Because they needed to show you how bad he was gonna be
But
when they fought him.
King Kong should have been like given more, I guess,
More wow moments.
more wow moments because
I
he
think
He
was,
did.
but he was
I,
disrespected. He had
He
CPR,
wasn't
bro.
disrespected.
It's he literally had to be. He literally had to get CPR'd by he had humans who were like basically
So did
saving
Godzilla when
him.
he was fighting
yeah, he was.
Ghidorah.
But I don't like that. But anyway, let's
You know, I would say too that I think that it was a mistake to make it like I think it was cool the way that they did it, right? Like Godzilla beat Kong, and then but now because one thing that you said earlier, Eli, is that like Godzilla that Kong needed Godzilla's help, but let's not forget that Kong came to Godzilla's rescue. You know what I mean?
hmm,
So,
Well,
I think that like
hmm,
one thing that I think that it was a mistake to make it because I also think that like they did that whole storyline of like Godzilla beating Kong to set up Godzilla versus Mecha and then Kong rescuing them so that then we end with Kong and Godzilla getting their respect. But I think it would have been cooler, I think, if you have Kong beat Godzilla, but then Mecha Godzilla beat Kong, and then Godzilla with his hate for Ghidorah destroying Mechagodzilla, regaining the title of King of Monsters.
Oh, here's the thing, though. I don't think Kong would have survived that fight 1-on-1.
Right, but Godzilla would have came to the rescue though. That's the thing.
Okay, but
Because
after
Godzilla wasn't
being
gonna.
badly
If it wasn't for
beaten,
Kong, if it wasn't for Kong, Godzilla wouldn't have survived either. Let's not forget that.
okay, but Godzilla could at least hold his own. Like Kong
You
doesn't
are the
have.
most biased commentator in the history of kaiju commentary.
You want to know why? Because you let's look at the rap sheet for each of these guys. Kong has fought the skull crawlers. What did Mechagodzilla do to just one skull crawler? He literally tore it in half without breaking a sweat.
mm,
Let's look at who
Okay,
Godzilla has fought. King Ghidorah, an extinction level event monster. Dude with
okay.
like the
So how is it
guys
that
that Kong
Mechagodzilla?
fights versus the guys Godzilla fights, there is a huge divide there. You
And
cannot
so
like
now you see why it doesn't make sense that Mechagodzilla was destroying Godzilla.
no, it makes perfect sense that Mechagodzilla was wrecking Godzilla. But to have Kong go up against Mechagodzilla alone? No, that would make no sense. He'd get wrecked.
Oh my gosh. No, he would not. There's a reason why he's King Kong.
No, he was
Ugh.
called
right.
No
Oh,
Kong
oh
respect.
up
my
He
to
has
God,
that
no respect. He
point.
has
that's ex-
so much disrespect. Eli, you are right. There's so much Kong disrespect going on. I can't believe this. Your own brother disrespecting Kong like this. This is
It's
atrocious.
not
I'm about
even
to leave this
disrespect.
podcast.
All you gotta do is look at the rap sheet. That is literally all you need to do to see who is stronger of the two.
but that's exactly what I'm saying. He's not given the King Kong, or you know what? Not even King in this case. He's just Kong, right?
They've literally been saying that for two
And
movies.
that's exactly my
Kong.
point. He's not given the respect that
I
he
mean, he's King Kong
deserves.
to me.
Yeah, he's
He
well.
has a throne. He has a freaking what's Thor's axe called? Come
oh,
on.
storm
Just
Stormbreaker.
axe.
I
Yeah,
think
I will have to say that scene where he did his little Conan moment, that thing was freaking awesome.
but like I mean,
Oh gosh.
I You know what? Here's my biggest gripe, and I know this is like very, very controversial, especially for Kong fans. I don't think that they should have even made the movie at all.
Yes, they really shouldn't have. I'm
No,
sorry.
they absolutely should have. What?
No,
What?
like
So that you guys can be butthurt over the fact that Godzilla won?
no, it's not even. No, I'm fine with Godzilla winning. I'm fine with Godzilla winning, and
You
I'm
just hate
fine with
how they
Godzilla
did it.
winning. Yes, it's how they did it that matters.
Yes.
It's not whether who wins or not. I can be fine with, I guess. My point being is that he was disrespected, brutally disrespected. He's not even a
100%.
king in this universe. That's why I'm saying
He
before you do
never
this,
really
but
was.
Oh my
it's king.
god,
Oh
dude,
my
that's
He
the
was an
disrespect. Come
alpha.
on, man.
He was a
god.
rival alpha to Godzilla before, but there is only one being in this universe that has ever really held the title of King of the Monsters.
But my
King Kong.
ah,
No, Godzilla. It was literally even established in the movie before this one.
You know, it's funny. I never envisioned the final fight the way that it happened, and I'm trying to struggle to figure out if that's a good thing or a bad thing because in my mind I kind of envisioned Godzilla versus Kong and the inclusion of Mecha Godzilla as kind of like a Tony Stark versus Captain America versus
yeah,
Winter Soldier fight where it was
Hmm.
you had and again Tony Stark is Mecha Godzilla in this case because he is a suit of armor, right?
Yeah.
And that's what Mecha Godzilla was kind of portrayed in this movie. He's the suit of armor that was going to protect the world from kaiju. And I kind of had that thought that it was going to be those two kind of putting aside their differences, knowing that Mecha Godzilla
Yeah.
was this huge threat, and then coming in and doing like a tag team type of thing. And I'm trying to see if the way they did it in the movie was a better way of doing it because you can always go back and say, well, you know what, if you did it the way that they did it in Civil War, you're kind of being lazy in writing that because it's been done 1,000 times. But I don't know if I like the version that they did in this movie.
I definitely do.
So
If you want to be quite honest, while I liked getting, well, I don't know that I liked it, but seeing Mechagodzilla again after such a long time was cool, but he really just shouldn't have been in the movie. I'll put it out
I
there.
don't think.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, I don't know.
it's a difficult thing.
I don't know. I think that like I would have rather have seen a round one and round two, and then Mecha Godzilla interrupting the fight, and then the way that it ended with Godzilla and Kong looking at each other and then going their separate ways could have set up like a Kong versus Godzilla where they have like their actual final fight in Hollow Earth with an actual finale ending, where this one just focuses on their fight and nothing else.
you know what?
I think another way you could have done it is you could have had my Mecha Godzilla interrupting their fight and totally wiping both of them out.
Yes.
Like and that's where you bring the human element in, where it's like, okay, these guys are clearly at a disadvantage because Mecha Godzilla is so powerful. Then you can have that scene where you're trying to hack into the computer to try and find a way to kind of diminish Mecha Godzilla, and then it almost becomes a 3-on-1 fight where you have Godzilla and Kong and humanity fighting against Mechagodzilla, who's kind of gone crazy and is on his way to destroying everything. You
But
know,
at that point, I mean, well, even for this movie, I feel that it shouldn't be even named Godzilla versus Kong. It should have been Godzilla versus Mecha Godzilla, because I mean,
I mean,
honestly,
yeah.
I mean, if you're gonna put it like how you said it, that Kong isn't even as powerful as he is. I mean, he would be an equal fight to Rodan.
Yeah, I can kind of see that fight playing out.
So why would you even try and make a fight like this, Godzilla versus Kong, when they're not even equal, and it's like a severe difference. But Yeah. Any final thoughts about this whole thing?
My only reservation is that, oh man, like I enjoyed the movie, no doubt, but I have to say there were better ways of doing some of the things they did. You know, like I will seeing I couldn't believe that Mechagodzilla literally had his own gladiatorial pit. I was like, wow, really? Damn.
It's like that moment in The
Yeah.
Incredibles, right?
Yeah.
Where they have the island where that they bring in supers just to fight the robot.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But at the end of the day, the movie, as much as I enjoyed it, it could have been better. So I'm gonna give my rating now, since I kind of just explained my thoughts on it. It's gonna be a 7 out of 10.
Gabe, I mean Wolfie or Walt?
I can go. I mean, you guys clearly know where I stand on the film. I think, I usually give these ratings on Get Geek for you guys that are listening to this on Get Geek, but for the CrossGen fans, the way that I typically rate things or the way that I view things is if, and this might seem pretentious, but I like to think that if I feel like I can write a better film, then it's no more than a 5 or a 6 to me. Because I, as a fan and an amateur creative person, I shouldn't feel like I have better ideas than what's being presented to me by the professionals. That's the way I look at it. There was, to me, the only thing that was great about the movie was like the fight scenes and seeing Kong in his own element. I loved seeing Kong in Hollow Earth, if Hollow Earth could somehow ever be explained in a way that makes sense. Um, because it is science fiction, but it's still science first, fiction second. You
Yeah.
know, things need to be somewhat explained. I love seeing Kong like finding his home. My favorite thing about the entire film was Kong finding his home, finding the throne room, and kind of like all the ancestral discovery, and of course the fight scenes. I thought the fight scenes were all really really awesome. I just wish that like you know if the movie is about the story of a battle that includes 3 rounds, then each round should be better than the last from dramatic. Even if Godzilla is going to win it, I just feel like that third round should have been a, a more dramatic fight scene than round two versus round one. Like everything should be building up to it, and that's where I thought that the ball was dropped a little bit. So you know, do we do halves on cross gen? Did you just say 7.5 or 7? I don't remember what you
I
just said,
said 7 flat
AJ.
out.
Okay.
Yeah, he went straight for a 7.
I guess I'll give it a 6. Huh?
Okay. Eli,
What's going
AJ,
on here?
AJ is smirking over here. So, and he's raising his eyebrows. So it's a
Why?
okay, Gabe. Go ahead and rate it a 6. Okay, Gabe.
I mean, to me, I err more on the side of 5. I want to say more err on the 5, so I would say maybe a 5.5.
All
What?
right, 5.5 is fair.
What?
That's a
AJ, you
fair
can
that's a
speak. You have
fair
your own
thing.
mic. You got something to say? Huh? Huh?
It really just seems like
I'll
you don't
settle on the
like it
I'll
because
settle on
Kong
the
lost.
5.5.
Ooh. Oh, wow. AJ just threw down the gauntlet and you didn't even hear it. So,
AJ, speak. I can hear you. I can hear you.
Yeah, I just said it. It feels like you don't
No, it
like the
has nothing to
movie
do with
just
that.
because
It
Kong
has to do with the
lost.
story.
all right. I'm
No.
gonna
See, now you
chime
have to because it would be a disservice. Oh, come on. That is not the reason at all. It's not not at all. Not at all because I just said that I'm totally okay with Godzilla winning. I don't like how the story's told. No. Hold
All
on.
right,
He
that's
what?
fair.
He's challenging
That's
me here. Okay? Hold
that's
on.
fair.
Okay?
Okay.
That is not
Hold
the
on.
reason I didn't like the movie.
Do
I
the
told you
concrete.
already that I would have written a better movie even if it's with Godzilla winning. Period.
It's fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough.
Even you would have written a better movie. Come on. If every single person at this table would have written a better movie, then you know it's not a good movie.
But it was still enjoyable. Like, I'm not gonna tell you how to
Terrible.
rate your thing.
Anyway, moving
Yeah.
on.
All right. So we've heard a good review from AJ. We've heard a not so happy review from Wolfie, Gabe. I'm gonna toe the line and tread right down the middle. I liked it about as much as AJ did, but I didn't dislike it as much as Gabe did. I'm kind of like right in the middle of this because I thought as a Godzilla versus Kong movie, we got what we paid for, quote unquote, or
Mhm.
subscribed for in terms of us because we watched on HBO Max. And there are people, which coincidentally, I will say this, um, Godzilla versus Kong in the COVID era is the number one movie since COVID started,
Hmm.
box office wise. So I'll just say that.
Eh,
That's something that I found interesting. But anyway, um, I thought it was the humans were forgettable. The plot was like Swiss cheese. Um, but the movie is called Godzilla versus Kong for a reason, and we got Godzilla versus Kong, and I think those fights were pretty memorable. I mean, I will go down for the rest of my life knowing that Godzilla knows some judo, right? That King Kong has some jujitsu training. I wouldn't doubt that Gabe secretly taught him a couple of moves beforehand. And Mecha Godzilla is completely a badass for reasons unknown, but he still did his thing, and I think his arms are entirely way too big. But again, it's Godzilla versus Kong. It's kaiju. We got more kaiju than we did in any of the other movies, and so for that reason, I'm going to give it a 6.5. So,
Okay.
all right,
Uh,
Eli,
And then there's Eli.
take us away. Let's finish
And
this
then there's
podcast.
Eli.
We're gonna finish this podcast on a high
ah,
point.
No, never,
mm, uh,
never.
On
yeah.
agreement.
You guys should
Oh,
really know what I'm about to
okay.
say next.
I was trying. I was trying.
It's wasn't.
We do. We actually do. But tell
So
the world, Eli.
so I've watched this more than once, twice.
Mhm.
And the first experience wasn't totally bad. I would say that I was spamming in the chat a lot of crazy stuff like Mecha Godzilla was like looks super awesome and
Monkey.
Monkey Gang, Monkey Gang, right? And it really hyped a lot of the stuff was really amazing at the time. The second time around, I was just completely dissing it with Jose was actually there too, and he was dissing on it too. And I think the whole gang was probably
It was the
it was
mob.
yeah, it was just
You guys became the mob.
trash. Yeah. And I'm just gonna put it at this. I said this in an alternate universe, but I would never I wouldn't watch this anytime soon. I won't watch it again, and I won't show this to my kids.
Ah,
Yep.
ah.
And yep,
He's not
4.5.
crossing gens with this movie.
No crossing gens. No crossing
Uh,
gens. 4.5.
Wow.
oh wow.
Okay. Okay. That works.
All right.
I wish I had gone down there so I could just tie it up with you and be in support of my Kong brother Eli. Monkey Gang.
Monkey Gang.
All right. So
Uh, we're just gonna wrap this up. Like, share, rate,
rate
subs,
and review.
and review. Not
Uh,
subscribe.
and
Wait,
no, and subscribe.
and
Just don't ever say.
subscribe.
Well,
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Do all of those. Do all of
yes,
those. Not
please.
like
To both of us. To
right.
both of those. To
Yeah,
both of those. Get Geek and
cross
CrossGen.
gen.
Did you forget what the name of the podcast is?
Uh,
Bro.
bruh,
Okay.
bruh, bruh.
But anyway, you know what we're gonna say? CrossGen from CrossGen, Mirror Paths cross again,
From Get Geek, stay geeky, my friends.
and as the fusion for both of those, the
Ooh,
but what did you say? The
As the
fusion.
forces combine, like
as the forces.
Megazord and Voltron. Wait, what was it?
Fusion. Ha!
What was did we say?
uh,
May our
Stay crossy or something
Yes.
like that.
Yes.
oh,
Stay
Crossy.
Stay
crossy, my friend.
crossy, my
Yo,
friends.
that's
Yeah,
not
there you go.
Nice. Oh, that's dope.
Oh my
That's so
gosh.
dope.
Let's get out of here before we before our audience says these people are way too crazy.
This was fun.
It
yeah.
was.
Yeah.
So all right, so catchphrase everybody.
Stay
Stay
crossy, my
crossy, my
friends.
friends.
Stay Crossy, my friend. Right.
Yes.
And King Kong should have won.
Get
Stop
out
it!
of here
Stop
with
it!
that salty
Stop
crap.
before he
That's
Get
can
not
out
say
of
it.
fair.
here.
That's
King
not
Kong
fair.
should have won.
No.
Eli's the director. He gets the
Yep.
final word.
My opinion is more important than yours right now, and
Yes.
that's why
Yeah.
King Kong should have won.
That's
Godzilla
BS.
killed King Kong.
No, he
No,
didn't.
he did not.
I mean, yes, he did, but
No,
King Kong
no,
still
no, he
should have.
didn't.
No,
No, he
end
didn't.
it, end it,
He
end
killed
it
King
before
Kong.
they can say anything.
No,
End
he
it. King
didn't.
Kong should have won.
You said so
End it.
yourself. No, he didn't.